Well, you have a pot of basil on the windowsill and a bouquet of daisies on the kitchen island, and your garden is full of tomato plants. Fun for you, but maybe dangerous for your pets. Well, earlier we chatted with the man named America's favorite veterinarian, Dr. Gary Richter. Dr. Richter is with us this morning with some really important info. All right, let's get the bad news first, Doctor. What common plants are actually really dangerous for our pets if eaten?
Yeah, it's a great question. There's a lot of sort of common garden and landscaping plants that can really be problematic, potentially even deadly for animals. So, things that you've probably seen everywhere: oleander, azaleas, foxgloves, certain types of lilies, daffodils, wisteria. There's a lot of stuff out there that's potentially toxic to pets if they eat it.
You're so right. This actually was something tragic that happened to our family years ago, and it was with the sago plant. And
Sure.
we had no idea. Now, what about garden veggies? Surely those are safe, right?
Well, as a general rule, I mean, things that, we as humans would eat are, for the most part, safe for animals. Probably the big exception would be things like onions. But, I think the other thing from a garden perspective to think about from a vegetables, is are those vegetables being sprayed with anything? Are there compost or fertilizers being used that if the pet got into the soil, is that potentially problematic? But the vegetables themselves generally are fine.
Okay, see, good to know. Well, what about herbs? When it comes to those herbs, I mean, catnip is an herb.
It is. It is. And again, generally speaking, if it's something that a human would consume, usually it's fine for pets. And a lot of times with herbs, if there's any sort of toxicity involved, it's going to be something that would have to be consumed in quantity, which frankly most pets would not do anyway. So I don't think herbs are something that people need to worry too much about.
Okay, now here's a little bit of good news. We can do things around the house, around the garden to ensure the safety for our pets. And again, this is something we had to learn the hard way, but what is some advice you can give us?
Well, I mean, a great piece of advice just based on what we were speaking about is number one, look through your garden and make sure you don't have anything in the garden that is particularly toxic for pets, because that's an opportunity to remove that plant and replace it with a pet safe one. Similarly, whether or not you do your own landscaping and gardening or somebody else does, you want to make sure that you're not spraying the garden and the landscaping with fertilizers or pesticides that could potentially be toxic. We really want that garden or the yard to be a safe, fun place for our pets. So just make sure there's stuff in there, that's safe for them. And if you have the kind of dog, for example, that might eat rocks or wood chips or something, make sure you don't have that kind of stuff in the yard for them to be exposed to.
Okay, definitely good advice. Now, what kind of signs will a pet typically display when they've eaten something they shouldn't have?
Well, it really kind of depends on what they eat, but a lot of times the signs are gastrointestinal, vomiting, diarrhea, but we also may see lethargy. Certain plants. So, for example, oleander, which is a very common landscaping plant, is actually a heart toxin. So in that case, we might see things like, like collapse or weakness or something to that effect. So honestly, anything that you see that looks concerning, particularly if you feel like your dog or your pet may have gotten into something in the garden, that is absolutely worth talking to your veterinarian about.
Definitely. Great advice this morning to keep those furry friends safe. Dr. Richter, thank you so much for your time.
Have a great summer.
And to learn more about pet health and safety, check out Dr. Richter's website at ultimatepetnutrition.com. And we're back with more Kogo after the break.